On this episode of Black in the Stacks, I chat with Christina Dotson about her interests, the role libraries have played in her life, and of course, about her debut novel, Love You to Death. Love You to Death is a thrilling read that revolves around best friends Kayla and Zorie, who decide to crash an antebellum-themed wedding deep in the backwoods of Georgia that leads them on a murderous road trip from hell. Christina Dotson is a member of the Crime Writers of Color and was a runner-up for the Eleanor Taylor Bland Crime Fiction Writers of Color Award. When she isn't writing, she works as a licensed clinical social worker and can be found not exercising and watching a ridiculous amount of reality TV.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for joining us today on Black in the Stacks. How are you doing?
So far, so good for a Friday. And yourself? How are you doing?
I'm off today, so I'm
Oh,
elated. No
well,
work for me.
that's perfect. That's the perfect Friday. But thank you very, very much for inviting me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Sure. So we'll just jump right in a little bit. Can you tell us who is Christina Dotson in a nutshell?
It's a very big question. I am just a social worker from Kentucky who has always had the biggest dream to be a writer. That's just always what I wanted to do. I come from a family, I have a sister and I have five nieces and nephews, four great nieces. My parents are they live here in Kentucky too, so all my family is here. So yeah, just a boring social worker. Nothing too exciting about me.
Being a librarian and having worked with some social workers and providing like some form of social work, I highly doubt that boring is the right word, but
Well, the
okay,
job isn't boring, that's for
true.
sure. Yeah, it's a mess, but
So yeah, I mean, you kind of alluded to it, but would you say that like writing has sort of been a critical part of like your formative years? Was it something that you like? Because I know there's well, I mean, they're self-published, which is great, but like there's 3-year-olds that have like written a book and stuff like that. Would you say it was that early for you, or like a little more like I can form a sentence in punctuation kind of a deal?
I think I always say that I've always wanted to be a writer from the time that I learned how to read, but I mean, that's probably not true because, you start reading when you're, like you were saying, maybe 3 or 4, and I can't remember that far back, but I do just remember that I've always loved reading, I've always loved stories, and I've just always thought that they were just incredibly magical. So the fact that you can sit in your room or sit on the couch and be transported to an entirely different world without leaving, I just thought that that was so powerful, and I've always wanted to create those worlds, so I've always known, I'll say probably since I was 10, that that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah, I've been writing since I was a little girl, just weird, wild stories.
Do you remember what your like very first, I guess, story that you wrote, like what the characters were or the plot or anything like that?
One of the stories, and I had recently posted a video when I got my finished copies of my book last week about being 11, and I had written a story about, it was called The Carnival, and it was a story about a woman who goes to the carnival or the fair with her best friend. They get on a Ferris wheel, and for some reason, I can't remember the details, but she kills her and throws her off the Ferris wheel. And that's the earliest story that I can remember. And I did write another like kind of romantic story about a first kiss on a porch. These are all when I was little. It's very strange, but I read a lot of my mom's Harlequin romance books because back then you could get like a whole box of them for like a penny or something. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And so I would read those. And then I wrote a story, I think this was maybe in the 6th grade, about a pumpkin that was like chasing kids in their dreams or something. I do not know why I wrote these stories, but my best friend and I, with the carnival story, we would I would bring some of my stories to church because that's when we would mostly see each other on Sundays, and we would act out the stories in the back of church. Like, so we'd act out murder stories in church. So, but yeah, those were some of the earlier stories that I remember writing.
Please, please tell me that there's a book based on acting out murder stories in church or something coming
I
soon. 'Cause
know, there should be, right? I
yeah.
just don't know, like, we should have been in trouble. That's weird.
Well, I mean, I saw a TikTok the other day, and a woman said that she performed 50 Cent in the club at church. So,
Do you
yeah,
mean, like, actually during
at
a
a ch-
service?
at a church talent show. Yep,
Oh,
yep.
well,
I
that
mean, she
is
got
interesting.
yeah, she got pretty far in the song before they were like, "Cut, let's not."
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, you'll have to send me that TikTok. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
for sure. Okay, so you said that you made a video of when you got like the first copy of your book, Love You to
Mhm,
Death, right?
yeah.
This is your debut novel, yes?
Mhm, yes.
Okay. So, can you talk a little bit about the process from getting the book from idea to like on paper and then finally to print?
So this story in particular,
Mhm.
Love You to Death. So with this book, it actually came from a news story. So this was when I was living in Tennessee. I was getting ready for work and I saw this news story come up about this woman who was um, showing up at weddings and taking gifts from the gift table. And like she also would end up going into the rooms where the purses and the coats were and things like that. And she would steal purses and wallets. And she did this in Nashville and Memphis because the story that I saw was a story out of Memphis. And then she did it in Alabama and in Mississippi. And so I thought that was crazy. And when I saw it, I think that the first thing that I did was just laugh because of the boldness and the audacity to go to a stranger's wedding, someone that you've never met, you weren't invited to, and then just to take from them. But then I thought, and I'm not at all promoting doing this, but I thought it was really clever that it's an interesting idea to just go because you can find weddings anywhere. Like when I was growing up, and I don't know how old you are, but um, you didn't know where people's weddings were unless you received the wedding invitation in the mail. So it wasn't like the whole world knew where you were getting married. But now, and when I was writing or researching kind of this story, I would Google just weddings in Nashville or weddings in Louisville, and there was a plethora of just people's weddings online. So you would know the engaged couples' names, their pictures, where they were getting married, what time it was, what the dress code was, what the menu was, sometimes even the band that was playing. So you have all that information, and unless you're Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they're not checking ID at the door, so you could just walk in and,
Mhm.
sit in the audience and then go to the reception and do your thing. So that was kind of, the basis of this story, and I thought that with the lady that was doing this in real life, and she's passed away now, but she did go to jail, but, I just thought it would be a more interesting story and fun story if it was 2 best friends that were doing it, so that's kind of how that process went. When I sat down to write it, and I'm not an outliner, I'm a pantser. I just, when I try to outline stuff, it never works out well. My brain just can't focus in that way with planning because I don't ever know really what's going to happen. So I just write by the seat of my pants. But I started with the wedding part first. I think I wrote 12 pages, not all in the same sitting, but over a period of time, I wrote the wedding scene, and I thought that was a good place to start. But sometimes, Marquita, on the weekends, what I like to do is I like to listen to like writing courses and stuff that you can find on YouTube, or things that I subscribe to, like writing classes that I find online that have like little webinars and things like that. And one of the ones that I was listening to said that you need to make sure that you're starting your story in the right place. So, not to just drop characters or drop the reader inside the characters' lives in some kind of action where they haven't established who the characters are or have a relationship with them yet. So I figured if I drop them into an antebellum wedding without them having any connection to the characters and why they're doing this in the first place, it just would get too confusing. So I had to pull back. And I was writing another story at that time. So this one kind of took a back seat, but I eventually returned to it. But that was kind of just my process for the beginning of it.
When I found out about the book, like, it hit home because, and I don't know if your publicist shared, but I'm an ordained wedding officiant, so I
Oh,
did.
no.
Yeah, so I've facilitated my fair share of weddings, and, like, sometimes, I'm a little too privy to some things that happen. But I don't think I've ever witnessed, like, a wedding. I'm sure there were people there that probably shouldn't have been, but if they were, like, they were very discreet about it, and then, like, once they're married and I sign their license, I'm out of there unless they're like, "Take food," and I'm like, "Yeah, give me that," but, like, to go. So I don't, but yeah, so, like, I was very interested in it, and everything like that. Like, I've seen that it's been described as, like, a Thelma and Louise meets Wedding Crashers, like, hybrid and thing, sort of thing, but these are Black women.
Mhm.
Was that intentional? Or did they start off as, like, different characters and then morphed into these Black women?
Do you mean if they started out as, like, white women?
Mhm. White,
No.
and
No,
they
they've
were always Black.
always been black, yeah. I just I mean, I wanted to wri I mean, I'm black, so I wanted my characters to be black, and plus, I thought that it would be an interesting spin too with them showing up at an antebellum-themed wedding, because 'cause I'm so sick of people having those ridiculous weddings where they're pretending to be in the Civil War. It's so stupid and racist. So, anyway, so that was the part that I really wanted to, the detail I wanted to include, but no, they were always black.
And I got that, and, as I mentioned on social media, like, the writing is really good, and I read quite a bit. Like, I've started and
Thank
stopped so
you.
many books that you're welcome, that didn't, like, hook me, and I'm always a little like, "Oh, a prologue, like, what are we,"
Ugh,
that
I
sort of
hate
like,
prologues.
yeah, it just, but this one was not that, and which is surprising because I like, well, I put them up because 'cause we're packing, but I I've read, like, so many that start with a prologue, and it makes it where the prologue should almost be a chapter because it doesn't really connect throughout the rest
Mhm.
of the book, and this did not do that, and that was very, a welcome surprise, and I was happy that, it did do that, and it set up the rest of the book so beautifully, so I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. That was my editor's idea because, like I said, I cannot stand prologues. I'm just like, I just wanna get to the story. I don't need this,
yeah,
stuff and you don't know what's happening and all that kinda stuff. It's like, can we just get to the story? And like you said, some of them are like 10 pages long. Like, that's not a prologue, that is a chapter. But, I have the best editor in the universe, and she said that this book would really benefit from having a prologue to kinda set the tone. So I struggled with it, but I finally got it out, but I made it very short and sweet so we could get to the story. But anyway, but thank you for saying that. That makes me feel
sure.
good.
Yeah, I was 2 sentences in, and I was like, "Mosquitoes, commands," like, the very first, like, sentence in this for people who are listening and should go and, like, either pre-order after this episode comes out or buy the book when it is on sale officially, is, "I shouldn't have come here," and you're just like, where are we going with this? And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't have come here, but like, why did you? And that's what kind of kept me pushing forward in this book, which is why I say like the writing is really, really good. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. So we've been talking about the book. I mean, you wrote it, so you know what happens. I've read it, so I know what happens. But without giving too much away, can you kind of tell our listeners like what is Love You to Death all about?
Yeah, Love You to Death. It is it's a story of two best friends who really quite honestly can't get out of their own way. They work as housekeepers at a hotel where they barely make minimum wage, so they're having a hard time financially paying their bills and just living their lives. So to compensate and kind of supplement for their really awful salaries, they come up with the brilliant idea to start crashing weddings and stealing from the gift table. So they'll take whatever gifts are available and they'll pawn them. What they'll take the money, like the gift card box, and take all the money out of that. And that's kind of how they fund their life. But when there are a few incidents that happen that kind of warrant one last wedding crash because they want to stop because it's getting a little bit too risky. And the wedding that they crashed happens to be the antebellum-themed wedding, and there are two black women that show up and at this, Civil War dress up wedding, and then something happens that where someone is killed. That's not a spoiler, and then it forces them to go on the run from the police, and then there's a nationwide manhunt, and then it's just chaos and chaos and more chaos from there. So, but during that, I call it a road trip to hell, is when Kayla really starts to see Zori in a different light, where she's kind of questioning if she really knows her best friend, the way that she's like always known her, because she's shifting and changing a lot, and if she might be the most dangerous person that she knows. So that's
Okay.
kind of it in a nutshell.
And then Kayla and Zori are two main characters of the book for our
Yes.
listeners. Yeah.
Sorry, Kayla is the, yeah, she's the protagonist, and then Zori is her best friend. It's told from Kayla's perspective.
Yep. So I know that you currently reside in Kentucky, but the book is set in Georgia. And again, as mentioned, as a wedding officiant, I've been approached to kind of officiate some of those types of antebellum
No, you
uh,
haven't. Are you
plantation.
serious?
No, I'm serious. Yeah.
They know that you're a black woman and they
Uh
ask you?
huh. So
Ugh,
yeah, like
I
yeah,
can't.
yeah. And I was like, one of them. It didn't. So it wasn't. How can I say this? It wasn't inherently. It wasn't antebellum. So there were no like, there were no like big hoop skirts and like Colonel Sanders dressed it up people and everything. Like the couple, they were really sweet. They were really sweet. They were um a white couple. They were super sweet.
Mhm.
They were nice. They were young. So I didn't think anything of it. I did like a 30-minute brief just to kind of get to know them, feel them out, that sort of thing. Completely fine. It wasn't until we got to the venue, and I've been to the venue before, so I felt safe there. Like I knew where it
Mhm.
was in in the mountains and stuff. That might give too much. They're not gonna listen to this anyway. So I've been to the venue before. I was like, it's fine in the daytime. Like at night, no, I'm in my room. But I was like, okay, this is fine. When we got there, all of the staff, like all of the vendors,
Oh,
were
no.
were black.
Oh, no.
So I was there officiant and like unofficial like party host hype woman. I couldn't like normally I have a package where I'll officiate and then if there's space I'll DJ too. So like it's a whole thing and I get to keep it. But I was like I can't do all of that and manage. So yeah. So I had a friend DJ, black woman. My brother and his girlfriend served as like photographers because they're both really good at it. So they were the staff at the venue, everybody that night for whatever reason, with the exception of like the manager, black. And I was like, Oh my god. Where the help?
Right.
Where the help? I was like, "Oh
Oh
my
my
god." So,
god.
yeah, so, like, reading that and then, like, seeing, like, they were, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, like, how Zoe and Kayla get into the wedding,
Mhm.
um, but they attempted to blend in a way that would not make them, like, suspicious enough.
Yeah.
And so reading that, I was just like, yeah, I was like, okay, I can see that, right? Like, you're the help in this, like, Southern themed wedding or anything like that. Like,
Mhm.
no one's gonna, you're literally there to help. So if I say, give me a
Right.
glass, if one of the guests was like, give me a glass of champagne or anything like that, like, you're supposed to. So that didn't, like, but yeah, it made me remember that I was at one point the help without knowing that I was the help. So,
Oh,
but yes,
cringe.
yeah. So yeah, it's set in Georgia, and I'm a Georgia girl, born and raised and everything. So, is there a reason like why Georgia and not like Louisiana or any of those Alabama, any of those other places that have like working plantations and stuff still?
Well, I mean, there's some in Georgia though. I've I don't know, like I grew up in Kentucky and I lived in Tennessee for over 20 years, which isn't that unique because my mom's family and my mom, they're from the hills and hollers of Tennessee. My dad is from rural Kentucky. So I call both Kentucky and Tennessee my home. But when I think about the South, I don't know, I always think of Georgia. I just think Georgia is just very Southern. I mean, you could say the same thing about, like, South Carolina or something or Mississippi, but I just always think of Georgia, and it could be because, one of my favorite books, The Color Purple, is set in Georgia, and then you have the iconic Gone with the Wind that's set in Georgia, so Georgia just feels Southern to me. I don't know. And I always like to write books set in the South, not necessarily where I'm from, like in Kentucky or Tennessee, but I think that the South is just the best place for thrillers. I know S.A. Cosby always sets his in like Virginia and southern states too, but it's just the South is so for all of its beauty, it is so dark because of the traditions and the culture, and it's embedded in it. I mean, there's no way around it. So I just think it's the sinister part is already there for the setting, so I just think it's perfect for dark thrillers and stuff to come out of it.
Yeah, I agreed. Again, as a native to the state, like there are places that I know that I can go and I'm there and I feel safe and it's homey and family. And then there are places that I would not be caught dead in once the sun goes down. So,
I was gonna say that too because I mean as a Black person, we've been taught all of our lives, and I know my sister tells this to her sons, there are certain places that you don't need to be at when the sun goes down. Even in 2025, that's just how it is, and it pisses me off that this is the world we live in. So, it's hard. It's hard being Black in the South, but even in 2025. So,
very
but
true.
it's a
Very
good setting for thrillers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I like the ones that are kind of set in the like the deep south or like the deep seedy parts of like Florida and stuff where like the swamps
Mhm.
and the Everglades are because like
Yeah.
everybody's like you can just chuck a body in there and the gators will get it like it's
Yes. That's my next book. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's true.
um so as like the creator of these characters, right, like you get to kind of change or formulate like who they are as people and the trajectory of their lives. Like, were there any characters in this book beyond like the main two that were your favorites to kind of create and kind of pace their journeys and how they played roles in the book?
I really liked Des, bless his heart. He was so sweet and cute and everything. And I watch a lot of reality TV, and when I was writing him, I don't know if you watch some of the shows on Bravo, but I like watched Summer House, and there was this in Winter House, and there was this guy on there. Now I can't think of his name, but
Mhm.
he was briefly dating Giselle on from Housewives of Potomac.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, I think, the young
Yep.
guy.
Jason.
He was so goofy and sweet and cute, and that's who I pictured when I was writing Des. So, I really liked writing him. I just thought he was the kinda guy that I would think was just so adorable and helpful and kinda dumb, but means well, a gentleman. So, yeah, he was really fun to write. And then, of course, well, I don't know if that would give too much away, but there are so many fun characters in this book, especially the further down that they get,
Mhm.
on their road trip. But yeah, but he was one of my favorites outside of
Yeah.
Kayla and Zorie. And he's the
Uh,
wedding singer for the listeners.
yeah.
The wedding singer with a heart of gold.
Yeah. Much to his well,
Yeah,
you'll have to read to find out, but I was just like,
right.
"Oh, you big dummy."
I
Like,
know.
what? You're so sweet, but, like, God, you're dumb.
Yes, naive. But I honestly, Marquita, all the characters in this book are kinda dumb, including Kayla and Zori. They just make the most dumb decisions, but I mean, but to go back to the point about reality TV, I made them 28 years old, Kayla and Zori, because the shows that I watch, like Love Island, Summer House, Pump Rules, all those little reality shows, the girls that are well, young ladies that are on those shows are in their mid to late 20s, and my nieces are in and nephews are in their mid to late 20s, and I feel like, no offense to the young people, I'm 45, but I think that that's prime time to make dumb decisions because you're learning about yourself, and for Kayla and Zori, they've never really made great decisions, and I think that their past has kind of stunted them a little bit because if they were smart women, they never would pursue crashing weddings in the first place to pay their bills. So that's the first thing. So I don't expect readers, well, I hope that they wouldn't go into this thinking, "Oh my gosh, they keep making stupid decisions." Yes, because they're not the brightest women, so that's what they do. So anyway.
And that's exactly like reading it, that's what I felt. It's just like,
Mhm.
"No, like, you had an out, like, take it,"
Right.
and then you
Yeah.
don't, and it's just like, "Well," and then I'll be like, "Well, there's a chunk of book left, like, maybe we're just not there yet," and it just
Snowballs.
snowballs, yeah. So yeah, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but the 2 main characters, Kayla and Zori, have a I would say, a unique bond over something that took place in their youth. Um, is that something that was, like, purely fiction or loosely based on something you read or something that was personal to you?
Oh, I've never been to jail or prison, so that's completely made up. Yeah.
I
No.
well,
Knock on wood. I don't
right,
think I'd survive, but
I
I like my makeup and stuff and curling
yeah,
irons.
but I like how that was sort of handled, with a little bit of care, like, reading it, I I don't blame Kayla. Right? I completely understand it, but also, like, come on now, like, that's your friend, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I was just like, "You like, stop." Like, that's supposed to be your, as they say in the book, "ride or die," right?
Mm.
And you did not do that,
Right.
you and stuff, especially knowing, like, Zuri's past or, like, her
Mhm.
upbringing and everything like that, um and so knowing that and seeing like all the decisions being or the choices that Kayla made throughout this, that was always sort of like the undercurrent,
Mhm.
in understanding like, okay, well, this is why, this decision was made and this is why this choice was made and stuff like that. Even with ample opportunity to like to do
Yeah.
essentially the right thing, whatever that is in this case, because I was like, there is no right thing anymore in this from my perspective. Like it
Yeah.
was too far gone
Mhm.
um to try to make things right. And that was like the recurring thing with Kayla. Like she's like, I want to make it right, I want to do good, I want to be better. And you say that, but you don't do it. But you're
Right.
also 28. You're also, still sort of recovering from something in your youth that has, done irreparable damage to your future, even though you were kind
Mhm.
of on that path. Um, the dynamic with what happens with her mom and then like the subsequent relationship with her father and stepmother, like all that plays a role. Um, the high school sweetheart that is now, I mean, it doesn't really like give too much away, but yeah, like her high school sweetheart is now what, engaged to her stepsister.
Yes.
I
Like,
was
how
like,
does that happen? That's really
right, like
messed up.
what is, I was like, this is messy but
Yeah.
good, but this is messy.
I couldn't
um
even imagine. I'd never go home again. Like,
Ever. I was just like, why are you there? Like dinner? What do you
yeah,
mean, girl? No. Like I'm busy, click. And it's
exactly.
like eating ice cream and watching the housewives on repeat. Like,
Yes.
no, I'm not coming to your house. Um, but yeah, so have you so going back to the description of like a Wedding Crashers meets Thelma and Louise meets a because they're two black women meets the Issa Rae produced film like One of Them Days. Like it's a hybrid kind of mashup for me with that. Were there any other like TV shows or films that kind of lent themselves as inspiration as you were writing?
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned One of Them Days because I think it was towards the end of last year, my agent, Melissa, had emailed myself and my editor, like, a clip of the movie trailer, and because we were still in editing rounds and stuff, and, there's a real, like, a similarity because their boyfriend has a T-shirt thing, and I'm like when I saw that, I'm like, "They stole my book." Like, now nobody's gonna buy it. They're gonna think I'm ripping it off, but I did mine first. But anyway, so and also because Kiki Palmer is in it, and she was kind of my inspiration for Zorie. So I was like, "Well, crap," because now she's not gonna wanna do another movie because it feels too similar.
Mhm,
Like, my if I was ever lucky enough to have a movie or a TV series made, like, she wouldn't do it because it's too similar to what she just did, but anyway, yeah, so that was the weirdest timing, but, there's another writer that, I commented on, a lot on Instagram, and she felt the same way. She has a book that's coming out next year, and she was like, "I just saw Sinners, and my book is like that, and now" I guess
mhm,
because no ideas are I mean, there are just everybody can pull ideas out of the sky, and it's always just about timing, but, it's everybody's like, project is a little bit different, like, mine is definitely darker than that movie. So, but yeah, I pulled a lot of inspiration from, obviously, Thelma and Louise and, Queen and Slim. I know that's like a black Thelma and Louise, but with a man and a woman. I love that movie. It always makes me cry. Um, Natural Born Killers, California, and a little bit of Set It Off. And Set It Off was actually mentioned by a reader, and I didn't even think about that. But yeah, it does have some Set It Off vibes. And I just rewatched that movie last weekend. It's still so good. So
mhm.
yeah, those are kind of good inspirations and that I thought about when I was writing.
Yeah. And I I'm I will watch or at the very least attempt to watch or like read anything that is Black centered and focused, thus Black in the Stacks.
Mhm.
Um, because I felt like for this podcast in general, I felt like there wasn't something that was inherently Black focused. Like there's a lot of library podcasts, but they talk to pretty much anybody. And I
Mhm.
was like, there's something missing that is strictly for um, Black culture and Black people in the realm of literary works and stuff like that. And I want more of that. So, like, whoever the author is with, like, the book about sinners and stuff, like, listen to this girl, like, publish it and, like, promote and come on the show.
Mhm.
Because,
Yeah.
like, Sinners was a thing that was needed, and it came out at the right time, because there aren't a lot of movies and films around that sort of supernaturally
Mhm.
things that have that Black culture and heritage, from all parts of the diaspora in it.
Mhm.
And that's why it was well received like that. Other than the fact that it's beautifully shot, other than the fact that the storytelling is great, you just don't see that type
Yeah.
as often, and done so well and so, respectfully, that we need more of that. So,
Oh,
um,
100%.
yeah. So even though, like, yeah, immediately, like, we liken it to stuff like that, that just makes me want to read or watch it even more. Like, if it's something that's
Mhm.
familiar but different, which is what Love You to Death is, in my opinion. Like, it does give that, that set it off vibe, because it does feature Black women and everything. It is a little bit of, um, one of them days with, like, the shisty boyfriend, or like the one of the characters who's just like man crazy. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just like reading, it's just like, "Sorry, girl, again? Like, again?" Yeah, I get
Mhm.
it, but, like, again?
Right.
But yeah, like, she's very, like, with the finessing of the men and getting what she wants, like, I was like, "Oh, this is Cardi B early days, like, all all day long."
Oh my gosh, I know so many young women and, even in my own circle, like, women that find validation from men. So it's very, and then also as a social worker, seeing that in with families that I've met over the years, and it's really frustrating and sad, but it comes from a different place that we can't always see. But yeah, and Zori is always looking for some kind of validation or reassurance, something.
Mhm.
Bless her heart. So, well,
Yeah.
not bless her heart.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
something.
she's something. I was just like, "Oh, I do not like you. I do not
Yes.
like you." Like, "Oh, you are terrible." But
Yes.
it's a good character that you just, like,
Mhm.
love to hate.
Yeah.
Um, and that because you hate her, it makes so much sense why Kayla makes the decisions that she does.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah.
Well,
Um,
that theme of, like, loyalty and manipulation and love and how all of that can get, misinterpreted, especially loyalty disguised as love and manipulation, all that kind of stuff, how it can keep you tied to someone because you think that it's out of love, but it's not, and that's kind of their dynamic, n-
mhm,
and I always say, because I've had the same best friend since I was 6 years old. We were both six, just like Kayla and Zorie, but we're not like Kayla and Zorie. But we sometimes you hold on to friendships for a long time because they're old friendships and you have so much history, even though you've outgrown each other and your paths have went completely different ways. Because the older we get, we're not the same people. We grow up, we find different interests and different careers, and sometimes your best friend might be the person that's kind of angering you because they're not moving with you or fast enough. And so we have to kind of figure out, is it time to let go, or are we just holding on just for the sake of holding on? So you have to know when it's time to let go of that toxic thing, even if you love that thing. Um, Sometimes you've got to know when to let it go. So anyway, that's kind of Zori and Kayla's predicament,
yeah.
unfortunately.
So I'm a huge believer of like speaking things into existence and everything. So when you get an email or a phone call that this book is being transformed, I can see it more as a series, right? Versus like a feature film because there's so much like backstory that is in there that can easily fill like a 30-minute,
Mhm.
episode or anything like that. You mentioned Kiki Palmer, but who else would be in like your dream cast?
So yeah, like I feel like I wrote Zori as Kiki Palmer. I saw her face, heard her voice through the whole thing. But Zendaya is who I pictured as Kayla. I thought that she has like the softness and the vulnerability and also the this cynical, you know, personality that she could definitely pull Kayla off. And for Des, my sweet Des, I pictured Jason from Summer House, but I also pictured I don't know, I can't remember his name now, Duke of Hastings from Bridgerton, that beautiful, beautiful man. Um,
Uh, Reggae
Reggie
John Page.
yes, I pictured him as Des because he can sing too, and I just think that he would be perfect. So those are the 3 that I in my immediate thoughts. I would love for, oh, now I can't remember her name. Never mind. I was gonna say for Gigi, in New Orleans, but now I can't remember her name, so never mind.
Mhm. Yeah, I for the like the nurturing aspect of Kayla's dad, and I can picture like who he is and everything. But like there were two people that came. Like one I can picture like relatively clearly, but now that I'm thinking about it more that you've mentioned Zendaya, I would say like maybe Giancarlo Esposito as her dad.
Oh, yeah.
Um, if not him, then like someone who has that ability to kind of be caring but also a little bit distant. Would be I think his name is Michael Beach from like he's most
Yeah.
notably yeah um the guy who cheated on Vanessa Williams and so in Soul Food, cousin Faith. Yeah, I'm pretty
That's
sure
a
that's
really good one, though.
yeah because
Yeah.
they already hate him like he's never gonna live that down from Soul Food like we hate you like him and oh god I can't think of his name but yeah the God what is his name Jill Scott's
From
husband in the first Why Did I Get
oh,
Married?
see, I was gonna say the guy from Diary of the Mad Black Woman.
Him too.
But yeah,
Yeah,
all the men in Tyler Perry
all
movies.
of them. Um, will there be an audiobook version? And if so, are you going to read it or are they like outsourcing for someone else to read it?
So there is, and it will be available when the book comes out. I am not reading it. Nobody wants to hear me read this. It's funny because a couple of weeks ago, so I work with a team of like nurse practitioners and nurses and doctors and stuff. And one of the nurse practitioners, she's from Africa. I can't remember which part. And she was talking to me on the phone, and she was like, "You sound like someone from Gone with the Wind, like a white lady from Gone with the Wind." I'm like, "What?" Oh, I was like, "Oh well, okay." So no,
Thanks.
I don't think I'm the best voice for this book, but Renika Williams is going to be doing the or she's already done it, she's narrating the book, and she is amazing. I She's so good. She's from Ohio, but I thought she was from Texas or something because she can do a southern accent that's not, over the top twangy or anything. And she's most known as Willow. She played Willow in HBO's The Sex Lives of College Girls. She's also had appearances on P-Valley and New Amsterdam, but she's such a good actress, and on the show, The Sex Lives of College Girls, she's really funny, and in the guest appearances that I've seen on the other shows, she has parts where, they're more, emotional and serious, so she can play both sides and kind of combine them a little bit. So, because there is a lot of dark humor in this story, but it's also full of heart too. So
Mhm.
she's really good at that, bringing the vulnerability and the humor. So
Yeah.
I thought she was amazing, and I still can't believe that she wanted to do this. So
Yeah.
so I feel very, very blessed to have her narrating the audiobook. It's still unreal, but she's amazing. Can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, on the yeah, I've seen The Secret Lives of, or The Sex Lives of College Girls, and she's one of, what is it, Whitney's,
Mhm.
uh,
The
teammates.
soccer player, yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah, she's one of her teammates and stuff, but yeah, like, her comedic timing, is really, really good, so, I if Kiki Palmer doesn't work out, like, hey,
Exactly, like,
she's
she would
right
be
there.
great too.
She's right
Perfect.
there.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Fingers crossed.
Um Um, will you be doing, a book tour? And if so, like, where?
So I don't have any plans to do a book tour because nobody cares yet, but the only tour I'm doing is here in my hometown of Bowling Green, Kentucky. I'm having a book signing on July the 26th. So, yeah, that's the only thing that's scheduled for now. So I guess we'll see how the book goes and maybe some more stuff will happen. But for now, just going to Campbell Lane in Bowling Green, Kentucky to the little strip mall. So
Well, I will tell Katie because I care. So,
thank you.
so before I ask, like, my final couple of questions, is there anything that you want to say about and I have it right here. It's right next to me. Um, and I'm glad that they sent, like, an uncorrected proof so I can write in this one, and then I'm gonna get, like, an actual, like, official hardcover because 'cause I'm a purist like that, like, paperbacks.
I
Not
love
my jam.
hardcovers too. Yeah, and they look really pretty on the my
So
bookshelf
good.
is over here. Yeah,
Mhm,
I love a hardback.
yeah. Is there anything else that you want to let our listeners know specifically about the book and why they should pick it up on sale July 22nd?
I think maybe just that when I wrote it because I just wanted to write something fun and wild and interesting, and it is a book for entertainment. It's one of those books where because I like to just when I sit down to read, I just wanna be, like I was saying earlier, just taken to another place and just lose myself in a story. I'm not trying to write a dissertation about it or find some hidden message. I just wanna read about these characters and not take it so seriously. Granted, there are themes in this story about race and, class in the South and, toxic friendships. That is certainly there, but it's just a fun story, and my intention is just for people to be entertained and enjoy themselves with these crazy ladies. So I hope that that's what happens. So,
So these last questions are kind of the ones that I ask everyone who is a guest. So they're not super meant to be thought provoking, but I guess they kind of can be depending on where you take it. But what is one thing you will always be proud of?
hmm, one thing that I will always be proud of. Um, ah, gosh, that is hard. uh, can I just be basic and say this book?
Yes,
Because
yes.
I it is just I've written a lot of books, Marquita, and I've had years of projection. It's taken me 20 years to get this down this traditionally published path, which is where I always wanted my journey to go. But when I wrote this book, it was so effortless, not to sound cheesy, but I had so much fun writing it, and it kind of wrote itself. These women just would not stop talking, and it felt very, very special. And then, from the time that I started querying it to agents, I mean, I had a lot of requests, and I just felt like there was a lot of momentum with this book. This book was something, and even from the time when we were on submission with it to publishing houses, I was only on submission for 4 weeks, a month, and that's not the norm. So I feel like this book is special, so I will always be the most proud of Love You to Death.
What is something surprising that you've learned about yourself?
Um, that my skin is not as thick as I thought it would be because I've like I said, I've been on this journey, to traditional publishing for a very long time, and I've had so many rejections from literary agents and even, publishers who don't require a literary agent, so I just felt like, "Oh, well, I don't care if I get bad reviews or whatever. I'm tough and my skin is I have elephant skin," but that's not true because sometimes the reviews, and that's why they tell you don't read the reviews, because sometimes reader reviews can be soul crushing and you're like, but I tried so hard, and they're just like, "Your book sucks." So yeah, I've learned that about myself that my skin isn't as thick as I thought it would be, but I'm trying to thicken it back up again. So and not and stay in my lane and block out the things that don't bring me joy. So
What either books or other creative works are currently occupying your time? Like, what are you reading or watching that like you have to watch or read like no matter what right now?
I just finished reading um Julie Chan is Dead. And that was a wild story. I like wild, unhinged, just crazy stories. So that was really good. I'm about to start, just like everybody else in America and the world, King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. So I'm about to start that. I'm really excited. And then I'm trying to work on um, writing. I've had writer's block for a very long time, but I'm coming out of it. I've got a really good idea for a story that's I'm having fun writing. So that's fun. And again, like everybody else in the country, I'm watching Love Island um, all the time. But it's terrible season, so I'm not really enjoying it. But I'm still watching it, just kind of like the Sex and the City. Um, what is that called?
And just
And
like
just
that.
like that, yeah, that's terrible too. But I watch it anyway because I feel like I have to. So because I'm so
Yep.
invested. So yeah, those are the things occupying my time.
Yep. Faithfully tuning in. I don't know if you've seen, I think it's the most recent one with like the neighbor or like the downstairs neighbor with
Yeah.
Terry. And I was like, really? This is the A story? This is what we're doing? Um,
It's Did you watch last night's episode with the karaoke machine?
Not yet. No.
That show is so stupid. I don't know what happened. I mean, I don't know. But
Well,
anyway,
yeah. It's like I don't have you watched Poker Face?
I haven't watched that.
The first season, immaculate. No notes. This current season, I don't know what happened. And they can't say that it's because of like the writer's strike because no, it's not. But I'm watching it so determined. Like, and then Giancarlo Esposito was in, I think it was either episode 2 or 3 of the current season. Um, and he did a great job. But like the
Mhm.
episode itself, I was like, what? Why is he married to Katie Holmes?
He's
Like,
married to it.
yep,
What? That doesn't
yep,
even make sense.
exactly, exactly my point. And I
Oh,
watched the
wow.
whole thing anyway. Yep.
Wow. That's odd
Um,
casting.
Very odd. Um, what role, if any, have libraries played in your life?
Well, I mean, that's where I found my discovered my love of reading. When we were little, my mom used to take my sister and I to the library, usually about twice a week, and we got to check out, books and stuff. And I always found myself wandering towards like the at first it started out with the fairy tales, and then I got into like science fiction, and then of course I discovered Judy Blume and R.L. Stein. So I was really big into the Fear Street books. But yeah, we in our neighborhood, and I don't even know if they still have bookmobiles anymore, but we used to have a bookmobile
Mhm.
that came through. Um, I don't even remember how often it was, like maybe every 2 weeks or something. But that was the most fun getting on the bookmobile and checking out the Sweet Valley High books and the Babysitters Club books, like all of those 80s girls books. But yeah, are bookmobiles still a thing? Do they still have those?
Very much so. They are a little,
Oh.
yeah, they're a little different now because they offer like Wi-Fi service, like free Wi-Fi access.
Oh.
Sometimes you can, they still do like book delivery and pickup and stuff like that. But if you're just like out and you're there and you return a book, like they'll take it and they'll route it to like the home branch or wherever it belongs. There's some of them have like TV screens so they can, show like short videos or have gaming
Wow.
like in a parking lot. Yeah, they're a lot more high tech when you can afford it, when your library has like funding. Thank you very much, current administration, for cutting it. um, but yeah, they're a
Don't get
lot
me
more.
started on that administration. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're a lot more high tech, but yeah, the systems that can't afford them do have them, and they go out to the areas where um, services are a little more limited,
Mhm.
and then they're just like fun to see at like a big either county or city wide event and stuff like that. So
I
yeah.
had no idea. I feel like I never see them anymore, and they were just it was always in the neighborhood, and it was the best day, when it pulled up. So yeah, I used to love going to the library, and they used to have, like, little events and stuff, and we had a lot of our Girl Scout meetings there, and it was just a magical place, and I like the way it smelled and everything. I don't like the way it smells now. Our library now, because I just moved back here 2 years ago from Tennessee, and I went to the library that I used to go to when I was little. I was so excited, and I feel like it's full of crackheads now, but it's still a magical place. Anyway.
Magical crackhead
Right.
place.
They were just in every corner in the stairwell, just you know, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ah, well, it is what it is." And it seemed smaller when I went back now, because I haven't
Hmm.
been in so long, and somehow when I was little, I remember it being so big, and I'm like, "Has it always been this size, or I was just small?" But, yeah, the library is I mean, it's an amazing place, and I know that my nieces take their kids or she takes her daughter and my nephews take their kids to the library, when they have, like, kids events and reading, so yeah, it's the best.
Kayla and Zorie have a little saying that they say to each other often as they're holding up their wrists with their tattoo that they have.
Mhm.
Um, do you have like a saying like that you kind of just say over and over, either to yourself or between your best friend that you're willing to share?
Things that I say to myself are probably not appropriate for here because I get so mad sometimes, but that best friend's honor actually came from me and my best friend and my sister, but it wasn't best friend's honor. When we were growing up, we used to say Christian's honor, like, as kind of, to affirm that we're telling the truth. We would say Christian's honor, so I changed it to best friend's honor, but that's, like, a real thing that we used to say. So, kinda like the Kardashians say Bible, so we say Christian's honor, but yeah, so we don't say it anymore. Not that we're
And then
not Christians, but
um, so yeah. Lastly, where can people find you on social media?
you they can find me on Threads and Instagram at Christina Dotson Writes for both places.
That's it for my questions. I feel like we can keep talking about the book, but I'm going to give stuff away, and I don't want to do that. I want people to read it. Well, I want people to listen and then pre-order it and then read it and then come back and listen um, again for that. So yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you for having me. I'm sorry I giggled so much. Maybe you can edit that out.
no, I will not. I don't want to.
Okay.
It's great. Yeah. But yeah, so like maybe I don't know, maybe once the book comes out and you don't read any of the reviews, we can like talk in depth about it at some point.
Yes, I'll come back for sure. So I'm really fingers crossed for a bestseller. So we'll see. That's always been like the biggest dream, but we'll see. But thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
For more information, you can visit us online at www.blackinthestacks.com and find us on most social media platforms at Black in the Stacks.